Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, most welcome. And greetings from Nigeria. Africa is transforming. And as the continent experiences changes, including increase in the rate of urbanization and an expansion of the working population, the level of consumption and the scale of industrialization will change. But to what end is industrialization and expansion of Africa? There is an opportunity for the continent to channel its economic and industrial development to ensure that businesses operate responsibly and contribute to the holistic vision of economic, social, and environmental development. This is why entrepreneurship in Africa must have social impact at its core. Therefore, business schools should have this tenet ingrained into their curriculum and learning experience. This presentation will share insights on how business schools can adapt to this much needed change in the approach to teaching for impact and business success. I will share best practice examples here in Africa, ranging from curriculum development to engagement activities and research, based on my own experience and some of the work we've done here at Lagos Business School. When we discuss social entrepreneurship with our students, we make them realize that it simply means doing business to create social value. To make them realize that social entrepreneurs combine business and social issues. They are not placed in silos. They are engraved in the way they do business in a way that improves the lives of people, but at the same time, still enable them to make profits. Many of us are probably aware of the company Tom. One of the most popular examples of a company that runs a social entrepreneurship model. When the company was founded, it applied its one-for-one concept to shoes. For every pair of Tom shoes purchased, the company donated a pair of meat to a needy child. The company has since expanded the one-for-one concept to eyewear, coffee, and even bags. But we also found that many of the social enterprises we've come in contact with have certain things, certain features in common. They achieve large-scale social change. They focus on the social or ecological change they want to make while earning money to support that change. They innovate when looking for a solution to a social problem, just like the example that Lee gave us on the baby warmer. They use feedback to adapt and refine. So they actually embrace the whole concept that is now popular, design thinking. Social entrepreneurs have been doing that for a long time, but now people are calling it something very nice, which they regard as design thinking. But before I get into what social entrepreneurs do in our own environment, I'd like us to appreciate the context. That there are so many social problems, major social challenges in Africa. Pollution, even in my own country, is a problem. If you all remember the case between Shell and a part of the country, Nigeria. Poor nutrition, we still have a lot of nutritional problems. Poor healthcare, and COVID exposed how fragile our healthcare infrastructure is. Climate change, extreme poverty, even energy poverty. But one of the most alarming situations we have now is actually youth unemployment. So if you look at an environment where you have this myriad of social problems, it's obvious that for any business to succeed, in the long term, it must imbibe the social aspects into its business. Although I've talked of numerous problems, I can also share with you that there are some numerous achievements. Wealth creation is on the increase. We're plugging into globalization. Innovation is being driven by the younger ones. particularly in the fintech space and in social media, in the entertainment space. But the large population, some may see it as something that is negative, but in our own environment, it is positive because we are talking of reasonable workforce that is relatively young. So it's our belief in this part of the world that social entrepreneurship should help drive the economic growth of Africa. And how can that happen? We see the intrinsic interdependence of social and economic development in Africa makes a strong case for social entrepreneurship, creating solutions that make money and do good at the same time. We find that social entrepreneurs are already leading the way for positive transformation in sub-Saharan Africa, where millions of people remain excluded from basic amenities such as education. Their businesses, social enterprises serve a number of positive roles in offering a route to self-sufficiency in providing training and education, in harnessing skills, all elements that improve access to jobs. With the overall labor force in sub-Saharan Africa estimated at 416 million at the end of 2018. This was by a British Council research study. That number has increased by now, but certain interesting things emerged from that study. It indicates that social enterprises created a significant number of jobs across sub-Saharan Africa. The jobs created are typically for people from underserved communities. So it was not focused on the people at the top. They don't just exist to support poorer or marginalized groups. They are more likely to employ them as well. So as they are creating those jobs, they're also employing people from the lower end of the pyramid. The research also shows that these social enterprises help to sustain livelihoods and build strong and inclusive communities, supporting groups who are often left on the sidelines by traditional business models. For example, they employ a higher proportion of women than the more traditional private sector organizations. Now, according to the same report, 41% of the social enterprises have a woman in charge, significantly more than in other businesses, thereby helping with the diversity issue. More social enterprises aim to create jobs, about 78% of them, than profit-first businesses, which actually account for 27%. They also find that 73% deliberately employ people from poorer communities, compared to the organizations that think of profit first. Only 56% of them do. And the estimated number of jobs created in Africa directly by social enterprises between 28 and 41 million. So it's obvious that social enterprises have a significant role to play in solving our problems, because the poverty level at the bottom of the pyramid is alarming. So I'd like to share with you some examples of some of these social enterprises that we interacted with. And I'll just pick a few examples from different parts of Africa. I'm not going to focus more on Nigeria because we try to do work across. One of them is called Recycler. Recycler is a Lagos-based enterprise focused on giving low-income communities in developing countries value from waste. They actually try to convert waste to wealth, and at the same time clean up their neighborhoods through an incentive community-based waste collection and recycling program. So people are paid to collect waste. So they find they can earn money by just going around collecting waste, cleaning the environment. And this waste is also converted, recycled, and the product sold as inputs to organizations. This solves two major social problems: cleanup, which reduces health issues, but at the same time create jobs for those people who under normal circumstances will not have enough jobs. The second example is from Sierra Leone, yes, in West Africa. It's called Easy Solar. It's based in Sierra Leone and Liberia. Easy Solar enhances the lives of communities by providing access to solar energy solutions. Remember, I said one of our biggest problems is energy poverty. They make this affordable through a range of flexible financing options, empowered by pay-as-you-go technology. So you just pay for what you need. You don't have to pay for excess, and accessible through an extensive network of agents and shops, since most of these agents and shops are found in the rural area. The next example is from Kenya, an interesting concept of using something as well as waste to wealth. It's called green nettle textile. Their sustainable sting engages local communities to establish stinging nettle plantations on non-arable steep slopes. So you're not looking at using arable land that most farmers cherish. And by converting these nettle stems into what we call a linen-like fabric, they create an eco-fabric out of natural rather than synthetic material. And they employ thousands of artisans across the environment to do this. So many people get jobs, and they're creating wealth from something that is not regarded as useful. And my last example is from Uganda. It's called Village Energy. It's based in Uganda with a network of trained technicians across the country. Village Energy provides reliable energy sources that are tailor-made to meet community needs. Solutions are actually perfect for schools, health centers, hotels, farms, offices, and other institutions in both rural and urban areas. Village Energy also provides financing with partner banks which offer solar loans for up to 5 years. So if this is the way forward for us in Africa, what role should business schools play? Because we have a growing number of business schools. Business schools should be, first and foremost, incubation hubs for budding and existing social entrepreneurs, because some are already there. How can we help them? By creating this incubation hub. Knowledge centers for solutions to challenges facing social enterprises. Many of them are running business for the first time, not well trained in that act. So we need to help with capacity building. The second is a networking opportunity to be able to provide links to industry and also the social space. How can business schools do this? Business schools can promote social enterprises through funding, education, and startup incubation. Make curriculum relevant to real-world business challenges. Entry to social entrepreneurship learning programs must be accessible to all, particularly those on the front line of social problems. Create opportunities for students to participate in social entrepreneurship contexts. Partner with other business schools to create a bigger network. Empower people from all backgrounds to become social entrepreneurs, not just the privileged. Active learning through stories from practitioners, other students. Inclusive recruitment and student diversity. So, having said that, what do we do at Lagos Business School? At Lagos Business School, our purpose is to develop responsible leaders for Africa and the world. And that means responsible leaders, not just people who think of profits, but people who see business as service to society. And with that, we deliberately imbibe all our activities, all our teachings, all our MBA programs to actually make this a core course for our MBA students. We also, from the first day of MBA students coming in, looking at course, we introduce sustainability to them, but also get each student to have a personal social responsibility project while he's doing his MBA program. And we found out that at the end, what happens is that we have found about 20% of our MBA students become entrepreneurs, and 5% to 7% become social entrepreneurs at the end of the MBA program. We also designed a program called Business as a Force for Good to show that business is not just about profit alone, but can also serve society. And that program will actually take it across Africa and other parts of the world to show how businesses are force for good in Africa, and that is run online. And we have social impact emphasis in our LBS MBA Entrepreneurship Investor Forum. We also run certificate programs. We develop case studies, which we use in teaching, but we also share these case studies with other business schools across Africa and in the world. But one thing we found extremely useful and important in making all this happen is to have strategic partnership. And we've developed strategic partnerships with organizations like Ford Foundation that have helped us in running programs for non-for-profit, but at the same time, getting non-for-profit organizations to set up social enterprises to ensure continuity in running their non-for-profit organizations. We have even some interesting stories to tell about our own students who've gone on to run their own businesses and have made significant impact. Today, we have Stephanie Obi, who started a company called T-Hub Limited. She runs an educational company that provides online learning for young entrepreneurs. She was the winner of the WinBiz Impact Investment Competition and has extended her activities beyond the shores of the area. The second example of what part of our students have done, his name is Mike Wewe. His company is called Elite Shoes. He provides affordable footwear for school children, bridging the skills gap. It's not Tom Company, but the footwear is actually affordable for those at the bottom of the pyramid, and he still makes money. And bridging the skills gap, creating skills employment through what he called Elite Cobbler Training Academy. So he brings in young people, train them so they can also become cobblers when they leave. This have shown that with a well-designed business school curriculum, that young ones can be encouraged to go into the non-for-profit sector, but also go into the social entrepreneurship space. And I will end my presentation with just an example of what even big businesses are doing. I sit on the board of a company that is in the healthcare business, and they have a range of services. One of the services is an eye care hospital. It's the biggest eye care hospital in Nigeria. And in order to bring in the social entrepreneurship concept to them, decided how can they serve the poor people who can afford to have cataract operation of eyeglasses and at the same time make money. So you find that the poor people can either pay small amount of money or nothing, depending on their level of poverty, to get this care. And the rich people actually subsidize because they now charge them more than they could have charged in order to cover the cost of serving the poor people. The same doctors, the same operating theater, the same facilities. The only difference is that the wards for the rich people has cable TV and other facilities, and that for the bottom of the pyramid does not have it. This is an example of how social entrepreneurship can also be embedded, not just in a small organization, but also in a big organization that is already running a profitable business. Thank you very much for listening.